back on KPRC 2 News Today at 10. DACAMERA'S 36th season opens on September 29th, and it kicks off with Awakenings.
Artistic Director Sarah Rothenberg and composer Nikki Son joins us this morning to share more. Sarah, tell us about opening night.
Yeah, we're very excited about this, and we're really excited about Nikki Son's wonderful piece that we commissioned for this event. We're bringing the Isidore String Quartet, which is a young string quartet that has just won Banff International Competition, Avery Fisher Prize from Lincoln Center in New York. They are really star quartet that's just started off. This is their Houston debut. And we're presenting them playing pieces by the great composers Mozart and Mendelssohn. And then we commissioned for the event a piece by Nikki Son.
Beautiful. Now this is at the Wortham Center.
It's at the Wortham Center, September 29th.
Okay, this sounds like quite an experience. Can you tell us a little more about this quartet, the Isidore Quartet?
Yeah, well, you know, we present chamber music, jazz, new music, and this opening night really gives you a sense of what we do. The Isidore Quartet is a young quartet that formed in New York at the Juilliard School, I think. And they are now touring the world. They just came back from a European tour, and they are actually doing a residency somewhere else in Texas earlier in the month, and then they're going to be coming to DACAMERA.
Cool.
Awesome, awesome. And Nikki, talk about what, I know you were a part of the Young Artist Program as well. How was that experience?
So Young Artist Program was one of my first professional engagements moving to Houston, and it just opened a lot of doors for me. I got to meet a lot of young musicians who ended up becoming very, very close collaborators, and also I got to work and collaborate with a lot of different organizations that I never really imagined to work with before. So I got to write for elementary schools and Women's Home, which is a rehab facility in Houston for women with addiction and homelessness. So it was a very empowering experience, getting to know Houston and also musicians in Houston.
Yeah, the DACAMERA Young Artists Program is something that we have to help cultivate in brilliantly talented young musicians, instrumentalists and composers, a connection to the community, so that not only do they develop musically, but they find a way of really contributing music in the community in meaningful ways.
Yeah, and how do you find these young artists?
We have very competitive auditions.
No kidding. So the word is out. People know this is a competitive program. They want to get involved.
Yes, and we're looking for extremely talented musicians. They have to audition, but they also are interviewed. And it's about being able to communicate, being an ambassador, and building that bridge between great music and communities.
And Nikki, talk to us. I know you came up with brand new work for opening night. What goes into the process and what's your inspiration?
So my new piano quintet Times Dialogues drew inspirations from all over, but one of the biggest inspirations came from the Miles Davis and John Coltrane's rendition of this famous jazz tune, Bye Bye Blackbird. I have been very much influenced by jazz in terms of the way that I think about harmony and phrasing and also this organic way of making music. And I was just absolutely obsessed with this tune and this recording this spring. And so I got to learn a little bit more about the lyrics as well. And the song is basically about leaving things behind that no longer serve you, such as like heartbreaks and pain and also loneliness that we sometimes feel. And in the spring, I was going through a lot of different challenges and changes in my personal life that I very much resonated with this recording. So I wanted to make my own version of the tune. So that's my piece.
Does that happen a lot where, you know, the inspiration comes from something that you're dealing with personally at the time?
Absolutely. My music tends to be very personal, and I write a lot about people around me, events that happen in my life, and places that I've been. Yeah. So.
Awesome. So exciting. Sarah, talk about what does the rest of the season look like?
Right, so I mentioned opening night is a little bit like an overture because one of the pieces that's being performed opening night is Felix Mendelssohn, one of his string quartets. Mendelssohn being one of the great 19th century romantic composers. But we don't always hear about his sister, Fanny Mendelssohn, who was also a brilliant composer who didn't publish until right before she died because she Her brother didn't want her to. It was very complicated in the 19th century. And now Fanny Mendelssohn's kind of coming into her own. So later this season, we're focusing on Fanny Mendelssohn. We have other international string quartets, a quartet coming from Denmark, a quartet coming from the United Kingdom. And then, as you know, Nikki mentioned that her piece is influenced by jazz. We have a world-class jazz season. And very exciting. We have Terence Blanchard coming back to DACAMERA'S. Some people know him as the composer of Spike Lee's film music. He recently had an opera done at the Metropolitan Opera. We're presenting a suite version of that, and Terence and his band are also playing jazz. We have the great Russian pianist Danil Trifonov coming for his only Houston recital. He hasn't played here in a very long time. So if you love piano, if you love chamber music, if you love jazz,
you got it all.
And we really like to show how those things are not as separate as a lot of people think.
Right. Where can folks go for ticket information or however that works?
So DACAMERA, DACAMERA.com, and you can call, I'm not even sure of the box office
That's
phone
okay.
number.
We'll get
The
it on our
website will get you
website.
there, and we'll make sure
Okay.
that we link it to you. Sarah Rothenberg and Nikki Sohn, thank you guys so much for coming in and sharing more about that. The information's on the screen, too, about the date of DACAMERA'S opening night. Thanks to you both. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for
you.
having us.